I stared at the rain streaking down the glass walls of Lang and Vance Technologies, watching Hyun-Jae Kim pace his corner office 40 floors above me. Even from the lobby, I could see the panic in his movements. Sharp, agitated, nothing like the composed CEO San Francisco's tech world worshipped. My mop bucket sat beside me forgotten, because tonight wasn't about cleaning floors. Tonight his empire was burning, and he had no idea the woman he'd mocked for 6 months was the only one who could save it. Cookie, those elevators won't clean themselves, my supervisor's voice cut through my thoughts. I grabbed my supplies, smiled sweetly, and headed toward the executive floors. Toward him. Toward the chaos only I could see unfolding in real time through the security monitors I'd been quietly accessing for weeks. The system breach had started 3 hours ago. Subtle, elegant, the kind of hack that whispered instead of screamed, which made it infinitely more dangerous. And I knew exactly who designed it. The elevator doors opened to controlled chaos. Hyun-Jae's assistant practically ran past me, phone pressed to her ear, nearly knocking over my cleaning cart. No, tell the board we're handling it. We don't need outside consultants. Mr. Kim has everything under control. Lies, beautiful corporate lies. I pushed my cart toward the server room, keeping my head down, playing my role. Just Cookie the cleaner, Cookie who barely spoke English, Cookie who everyone ignored. Not Cookie Chen, MIT graduate. Not the woman who'd built half this company's infrastructure before disappearing 3 years ago. And definitely not Hyun-Jae's wife, though that marriage certificate gathering dust in my apartment said otherwise. Out of my way, Hyun-Jae's voice cut through the hallway like ice. I stepped aside, watching him storm past with his security chief and head of it. He didn't even glance at me. Why would he? I was invisible, disposable, just like I'd been the day he signed those divorce papers without knowing I'd never actually filed them. The breach is contained, sir, the IT head was saying, sweat beading on his forehead. Just a minor. Minor, Hyun-Jae's laugh was sharp. We've lost access to 3 major client databases. If this gets out, we're finished. I watched him through the glass walls of the conference room, remembered the man I'd married 8 years ago. Softer then, kinder, before his family's money corrupted everything we'd built together. Before he chose them over me. Maybe if you hired competent people instead of yes men, you wouldn't be in this mess, I muttered under my breath, wiping down our already clean window. Excuse me. I froze. Hyun-Jae stood in the doorway, dark eyes fixed on me with that intensity that used to make my heart race. Now it just made me angry. Nothing, sir, just talking to myself. I kept my accent thick, my posture submissive. His jaw tightened. Then talk quieter, some of us are dealing with actual problems. Of course, my apologies for existing in your presence. The sarcasm slipped out before I could stop it. His eyes narrowed. For a moment something flickered there, confusion maybe, or recognition, before his phone rang and he turned away, dismissing me completely. I pushed my cart toward the server room, heart pounding. The real hack was about to begin, and I needed access before they locked everything down. The security guard barely looked up as I scanned my cleaning crew badge. 15 minutes, Cookie, then I need you out. Yes, yes, quick clean, I smiled, playing the part. The moment the door closed behind me, I dropped the act. My fingers flew across the nearest terminal, bypassing their pathetic security protocols in seconds. The real damage was deeper than anyone suspected, buried in code only I would recognize because I'd written the original framework. But the signature on this breach was familiar, too familiar. No, I whispered, tracing the attack pattern, it can't be. The door burst open. Hyun-Jae stood there, flanked by 2 security guards looking like vengeance in a 3-piece suit. What the hell are you doing? His voice was deadly quiet. I didn't look up, fingers still flying across the keyboard. Saving your company, apparently. You're welcome, by the way. I said, what are you? He stopped mid-sentence, staring at the screen. How do you know that code? Because I wrote it. I finally met his eyes. 3 years ago, when I actually worked here instead of cleaning up after people who don't appreciate genius when it's mopping their floors. His face went pale. You're lying. Am I? I pulled up another screen, showing him exactly where the breach originated. Your COO, David Lang, has been selling your proprietary code to venture tech for 18 months. This hack, it's the final play. By morning, they'll own everything that matters, and you'll be left with an empty shell of a company. That's impossible. David's been with me for 10 years, I know. I also know he's been in love with your VP of operations for 3 of them, and she happens to be VentureTech's founder's daughter. Convenient, right? Hyun-Jae stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Who are you? Someone you should have trusted a long time ago. I turned back to the screen. Now either let me work or watch your empire crumble, your choice. He gestured to the guards. Leave us. They hesitated, he glared, they left. Silence stretched between us, filled only by the clicking of keys and the hum of servers. How long have you known? He asked finally. About the breach, 3 hours, about David's betrayal, 6 months, about you being too proud to ask for help. I glanced over my shoulder. Since the day you walked past me in the lobby like I was furniture. Something cracked in his expression. Cookie isn't your real name. Very observant. My fingers paused over the keyboard. Want to keep playing 20 questions, or do you want me to stop your company from being destroyed? He moved closer, close enough that I could smell his cologne, still the same one from years ago. Why would you help me? Because despite everything, I'm not heartless enough to watch you lose everything you love, even if you threw away everything I loved. And because whoever designed this attack is good, almost as good as me, that's personal. I don't understand. You don't have to understand, you just have to stay quiet and let me work. I dove back into the code, tracking the breach through layer after layer of encryption. Beautiful work, really, elegant, almost poetic in its destruction. And then I found it, the signature buried so deep no one else would have caught it. My hands went cold. What? Hyun-Jae leaned over my shoulder. What's wrong? The person who designed this breach. I pulled up the final code sequence. I know them, trained them actually at MIT. And they're dead. I turned to face him, or they're supposed to be. Marcus Chen died in a car accident 2 years ago. I went to his funeral. Hyun-Jae's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, face going white. David just sent an emergency board meeting request for tomorrow morning at 8. Let me guess. He wants to discuss emergency measures to save the company, which will conveniently require giving him controlling interest. How did you? Because that's exactly what I would do if I was stealing a company. I looked at the clock. We have 11 hours to stop him, but I can't do it alone, and I definitely can't do it as your cleaning lady. He stared at me for a long moment, war playing out behind his eyes. Pride versus survival, control versus trust. What do you need? He asked finally. Full system access, your corporate passwords, and an explanation to your security team about why the cleaning lady is suddenly running your IT department. Done. What else? I hesitated, then met his eyes. You need to trust me, completely. No questions, no second guessing. Can you do that? His jaw clenched. I don't even know your real name. Yes, you do. I pulled up one more screen, showed him the employment records from 3 years ago. His face went from confused to shocked to devastated in 3 seconds flat. Hana, he breathed. Oh my God, Hana. Surprise, I closed the laptop. Now, are you going to keep standing there looking like I've risen from the dead, or are we going to save your company? He grabbed my wrist, gentle but desperate. How? Why? I looked for you. Save it, I pulled away, heart hammering. We have work to do. The existential crisis can wait until after we stop David from destroying everything you've built. Hana. An alarm shrieked through the building. Red lights flashed. The screens around us went black, then blazed back to life with a single message. System lockdown initiated. All data will be WIPED in 60 minutes. I stared at the countdown timer, my blood running cold. They knew, I whispered. They knew I'd come. This whole thing was a trap. Hyun-Jae's voice was deadly calm. Can you stop it? I looked at him. My husband who didn't know he was still married to me, the man who'd chosen money over love, now standing in the ruins of his empire asking me to save him. I don't know, I admitted, but I'm about to try. The countdown timer glowed red on every screen, 59 minutes until total data wipe. My hands flew across the keyboard, muscle memory taking over while my mind raced through possibilities. This wasn't just a hack. This was personal. Can you stop it? Hyun-Jae's voice was tight, controlled, but I heard the edge of panic underneath. I don't know, I admitted, fingers never stopping. Whoever designed this knew exactly what they were doing. They studied your security protocols intimately. His eyes narrowed. You said our. Damn, force of habit, I meant your company's protocols. He moved closer, watching the code scroll across the screen. How do you even understand this? Cleaning staff don't typically have hobbies. I cut him off, pulling up another terminal. Shocking revelation, poor people can be smart too. That's not what he stopped, jaw clenching. You're deliberately misunderstanding me. And you're deliberately wasting my time. Either let me work or find someone else to save your empire. I paused, glanced at him. Oh wait, there is no one else, is there? Something flickered in his eyes, frustration mixed with grudging respect. His hand reached past me to point at a line of code, close enough that I caught that familiar cologne again. What does that sequence mean? He asked. It means we have a bigger problem. I traced the code path. This isn't just targeting financial data, someone's planting evidence throughout the system. Transaction records that don't exist. Email trails that were never sent, all pointing to. I stopped, blood running cold. Pointing to what? Me, I pulled up the fabricated evidence. Or rather, to my employee ID, someone's setting me up to take the fall for this entire hack. Hyun-Jae leaned in, scanning the screen. That's impossible, you're just he caught himself. Just a cleaner, I raised an eyebrow. Funny how that's suddenly convenient, isn't it? The perfect scapegoat. No one would question arresting the janitor. I didn't mean. Save it, I dove back into the code, but my mind was racing. Whoever was behind this knew exactly who I was. They knew I'd come. This whole crisis was designed to expose me and destroy Hyun-Jae simultaneously. My hidden phone buzzed against my hip. I glanced down discreetly at the encrypted message. I know who you are and I know what you're hiding. My breath caught, the number was blocked, but the threat was crystal clear. What's wrong? Hyun-Jae asked immediately. Your hands stopped moving. Nothing, just thinking. I forced my fingers back into motion, but my mind was elsewhere. Who else knew I was alive? Who else knew about my connection to Hyun-Jae? You're lying, he crossed his arms. You got a message, I saw your face change. Paranoid much? Observant, he moved to face me directly. If there's something else going on, I need to know. What you need is to let me concentrate. I pushed past him, accessing the deeper system logs. If I'm right about this, the sabotage started weeks ago. Someone's been planting backdoors, building this trap slowly. You're saying we have a mole. I'm saying you have a traitor. I pulled up access logs from the past month. Someone with high-level clearance who's been systematically weakening your security while making it look routine. Hyun-Jae leaned over my shoulder, close enough that I felt his breath on my neck. Show me. I highlighted the suspicious access patterns, hyper-aware of his proximity. See how these logins happen during off hours, always from different IP addresses but following the same behavioral pattern. That's not normal admin maintenance. His hand brushed mine as he pointed to another timestamp. The contact was brief, accidental, but electricity shot up my arm. His eyes met mine, and for a moment everything else faded. The countdown, the crisis, the years of hurt between us. Sorry, he said quietly, pulling back. Don't be, the words came out softer than intended. We need to work together on this. Together, he tested the word like it was foreign. I'm not used to that. I noticed, the whole tyrannical CEO barking orders thing is very on brand for you. Despite everything, he almost smiled. You're remarkably sarcastic for someone in your position. And you're remarkably trusting for someone whose company is collapsing. I turned back to the screen. Now, are we going to keep flirting, or are we going to stop whoever's destroying your life? We weren't, he stopped, color rising in his cheeks. That wasn't flirting. Whatever helps you sleep at night, boss. I pulled up the employee access records. Now let's see who your traitor is. The server room door opened. We both jumped apart like guilty teenagers. Hyun-Jae's assistant, Miranda Chen, stepped in with her tablet and perfect posture. Mr. Kim, the board is demanding an update. They're threatening to call an emergency meeting. Tell them I'm handling it, he cut her off. Miranda's eyes flicked to me, then back to him. With all due respect, sir, perhaps you should involve actual IT professionals instead of. Her gaze landed on my cleaning cart. The custodial staff. Cookie is helping me understand the scope of the breach, Hyun-Jae said carefully. The cleaning lady is advising you on cybersecurity. Miranda's smile was poisonous. How creative. I watched her carefully, the micro-expressions, the way her left eye twitched when she looked at the screens, the slight tension in her jaw when Hyun-Jae defended me. I should get back to my actual job, I said, playing my role. Mr. Kim doesn't need cleaning lady advice. Cookie, wait, Hyun-Jae started. I'll send it up immediately, Miranda interrupted smoothly. They should have been here already. Someone must have miscommunicated. She left, heels clicking efficiently down the hallway. The moment the door closed, I lunged for the keyboard. It's her. What? Miranda, she's your mole. I pulled up her access records, hands shaking with adrenaline. Look at the timestamps. Every breach, every weakness, every backdoor, they all trace back to her credentials. Hyun-Jae stared at the evidence, face going pale. No, Miranda's been with me for 4 years, she's… Perfect, I interrupted. Loyal, trustworthy. Yeah, that's usually how betrayal works, they don't send in someone suspicious. Why would she? Money, revenge, corporate espionage, take your pick. I saved the evidence to an encrypted file seconds before the logs refreshed. But right now, we have 43 minutes before system wipe, and she knows we're onto her. We need to call security. And tell them what? That the janitor hacked your system and discovered your assistant is a traitor. They'll arrest me before they believe you. I stood, facing him directly. We do this my way or we don't do it at all. He searched my face, and I saw the exact moment he made his decision. What do you need? Your complete trust and zero interference. I grabbed my cleaning cart. Also, your grandfather's private office access code. Why would you need? Do you trust me or not? Silence stretched between us. The countdown timer ticked below 42 minutes. The code is 0815, he said finally. His birthday, but Cookie if you're playing me. Then you'll fire me and I'll go back to mopping floors, win-win for you. I headed for the door. Stay here, act normal, let Miranda think she's won. Where are you going? To finish what I started 3 years ago. I paused at the door. And Hyun-Jae, when this is over we need to talk, really talk, about why you never questioned where I went, about why you let me disappear so easily. His face cracked with something raw. I looked for you for months. Not hard enough. I left before he could respond, before my own emotions betrayed me. 20 minutes later, I was in the CEO's grandfather's office, the real power center of Lang and Vance Technologies. The old man had died 2 years ago, but his office remained exactly as he left it, a shrine to his empire building. I bypassed the antiquated security with ease and went straight for his private files. If Miranda was working with someone, there had to be a connection, some thread linking her to the company's past. The countdown timer on my phone showed 28 minutes remaining. My fingers flew through digital files and physical documents until I found it, a leather-bound ledger hidden in a false bottom drawer. Inside, handwritten contracts from 40 years ago. Business deals, marriage arrangements. Marriage arrangements. My hands shook as I read the faded ink. Agreement between the Kim and Chen families, binding their bloodlines through arranged marriage. Chen, Miranda's last name was Chen. And then I saw it, the second page, another marriage contract dated 25 years later, between Kim Hyun-Jae and Chen Hana. Me, my real names. The marriage our grandfathers arranged before either of us knew. The reason Hyun-Jae's family had been so desperate to find me after I disappeared. Not because they cared about me, but because I was legally bound to their empire through contracts signed before I was born. Looking for something. I spun around. Miranda stood in the doorway, gun in hand, smile cold as winter. Found it actually, I said, keeping my voice steady. The real reason you're destroying this company, you're a Chen too, aren't you? From the branch family that got cut out of the grandfather's will. Her smile widened. Smart girl, too bad you won't live to tell anyone. The countdown timer hit 15 minutes. And somewhere below us, Hyun-Jae was waiting for me to save his empire, having no idea I was the key to either its salvation or its complete destruction. I stared at Miranda's gun, mind calculating odds and escape routes. The countdown timer on my phone showed 14 minutes, 43 seconds, not enough time for heroes, barely enough time for survival. You're going to shoot me in your boss's grandfather's office, I kept my voice steady. Bold move, very traceable. Who said anything about shooting? Miranda's smile was vicious. You're going to have a tragic accident. So distraught over being exposed as the hacker, you threw yourself off the roof. Very dramatic, very believable. Except Hyun-Jae knows I'm here. Does he? She tilted her head. Or does he think you ran away again, just like you did 3 years ago when things got hard? The words hit harder than expected. You don't know anything about that. I know everything about that. Miranda stepped closer, gun never wavering. I know about the arranged marriage. I know about the Chen family branch that got screwed out of their inheritance when your grandmother married into the Kim empire instead of mine. I know that you're the legitimate heir to both fortunes, and I know that you need to die before anyone else figures it out. My phone buzzed, Hyun-Jae calling. Miranda's eyes flicked to it. Answer it, she commanded. Put it on speaker, tell him you're leaving. One wrong word and I shoot you right here, evidence be damned. I answered, hands steady despite my racing heart. Hey. Cookie, where are you? Hyun-Jae's voice was tight with worry. We have 12 minutes and the systems. I'm sorry, I interrupted. I can't do this anymore. You were right, I'm just a cleaner, I'm in over my head. Silence, I could practically hear him thinking. You're lying, he said finally. You never apologize and you certainly never admit defeat. Where are you really? Miranda's finger tightened on the trigger. I had seconds to decide, play along and die quietly, or gamble everything on Hyun-Jae being as smart as I remembered. In your grandfather's office, I said clearly. Reading about arranged marriages and family betrayals, fascinating stuff. Did you know the Chen family split 40 years ago? Some got everything, some got nothing. Really creates bad blood. Cookie. Miranda's here too. She's been very helpful explaining the family dynamics, very thorough, very armed. The line went dead, Miranda's face twisted with rage. You stupid. The office lights cut out, emergency protocols. Hyun-Jae had locked down the entire floor. I threw the ledger at Miranda's face and dove sideways. The gun fired, deafening in the enclosed space. I hit the floor rolling, came up behind the grandfather's massive desk. You can't escape, Miranda shouted. I've sealed the exits. Funny thing about old buildings, I called back, fingers flying across my phone. They always have hidden passages. Rich people love their secrets. The bookshelf behind me clicked and swung open. I'd found the building's original blueprints weeks ago, memorized every hidden corridor built during Prohibition. Miranda fired twice more as I disappeared into darkness. The passage was narrow, dusty, leading down toward the server room. My phone's flashlight barely cut the shadows. 7 minutes remained. I emerged in a maintenance corridor, nearly colliding with Hyun-Jae. You're okay, he breathed, hands gripping my shoulders, checking for injuries. When I heard the gunshot. I'm fine, Miranda's the leak, she's armed and she's after me because of some family inheritance drama that apparently involves both of us. The words tumbled out. Also, your grandfather arranged our marriage when we were kids. Surprise. He stared at me, what? No time, 6 minutes until system wipe. I grabbed his hand, pulling him toward the server room. I'll explain everything after we save your company. We ran together through empty corridors. Behind us, alarms blared, Miranda triggering security, trying to frame this as my attack. The server room doors were sealed. I bypassed the lock in seconds. How do you know the override codes? Hyun-Jae demanded. Because I designed this security system 3 years ago under my real name. Hana Chen, your wife, technically. I slid into the main terminal. Long story. Focus on not dying first, marital revelations second. My wife, his voice cracked. Hana Chen is, you're telling me. 4 minutes, I cut him off, fingers flying. Identity crisis later, corporate salvation now. He stood behind me, breathing hard, but his hand settled on my shoulder. Steadying, trusting. What do you need? He asked. Your grandfather's personal access code. The real one, not the public one. How do you know there's a difference? Because I'm a Chen, we always have backup plans. I pulled up the final firewall. The code Hyun-Jae now. My birthday backward, 051808. August 15th. The day we met as children at his grandfather's estate, the day he promised to always protect me. I entered the code. The system opened like a flower, revealing the core sabotage buried deep within. Miranda's work was excellent, but she'd made one crucial mistake. She'd underestimated how well I knew this system. There, I isolated the malicious code. That's her kill switch. If I'm right, disabling it will restore everything and lock her access permanently. And if you're wrong, then we lose everything and probably get arrested for corporate espionage. I looked at him. Trust me. His dark eyes met mine, and I saw the moment recognition truly hit. Not just my skills or my presence, but me, the girl who'd taught him to code in secret, the friend who'd promised to change the world with him, the wife his family had chosen before he'd known what love was. Hana, he whispered, oh my God, how did I not see? Because I didn't want you to. My finger hovered over the enter key. Not until I could stand beside you as an equal, not just the girl your grandfather bought for you. 2 minutes. You were never bought, he said fiercely. You were chosen by him, yes, but if I'd known, if I'd remembered sooner. Execute it, a voice commanded from the doorway. We both spun. Miranda stood there, gun raised, but her hands were shaking. Security was coming, we could hear footsteps, shouts, chaos approaching. You've lost, I told her. Even if you shoot us now, the evidence is uploaded, the board knows everything. Then I'll take you with me, her finger tightened. Hyun-Jae stepped in front of me. No. How noble, Miranda's laugh was broken. The mighty CEO protecting his janitor wife, your grandfather would be so proud. He would be, Hyun-Jae said quietly, because she's worth protecting, always was, I was just too blind to see it. 60 seconds. I reached around him and hit enter. The screens exploded with light. Data flowing backward, restoration protocols engaging, Miranda's access codes dying one by one. The countdown stopped at 47 seconds. The gun clattered to the floor, Miranda's face crumpled. 40 years, she whispered. My family waited 40 years for justice. Justice isn't theft, I said, standing. Your grandmother chose to leave the Chen Empire, that was her decision. Mine was to save what she abandoned. Security burst in, restraining Miranda while she screamed about betrayal and birthright, and promises broken by dead men. When the chaos cleared, Hyun-Jae and I stood alone in the server room, surrounded by glowing screens showing restored data, saved contracts, secured systems. So, he said finally, all this time it was you. It was always me, I met his eyes. Even when I was invisible, even when I was just Cookie the cleaner, I never stopped protecting what was ours. Ours, he tested the word, stepping closer. Our company, our families, our marriage. A marriage you didn't choose. I kept my voice steady. A contract signed by dead men, you're free to walk away. The company's saved, my secrets exposed, you don't owe me anything. His hand cupped my face, gentle and certain. What if I don't want to walk away? What if I want to finally understand what that marriage could mean, what we could mean? My heart hammered. That's a terrible idea, we barely know each other anymore. Then let's change that. His thumb traced my cheekbone. Starting now, starting honest, no more secrets, no more running. I'm still a cleaner, technically unemployed now, probably. You're a genius, my wife, the woman who just saved everything I care about. He smiled and it transformed his whole face. Would you like to finally find out what that means? I looked at him, my husband in contract, stranger in practice, the boy I'd loved before life got complicated. Yes, I whispered, but Hyun-Jae, I'm driving this relationship, no more CEO tyranny. He laughed, forehead pressing to mine. Deal, but I'm buying dinner, and making you the CTO, and probably falling hopelessly in love with you. Probably. Definitely, his lips brushed mine, barely a kiss, more like a promise. If you'll let me. If you're not sobbing right now, rewatch this whole series. Smash that like button. Subscribe for more epic love stories. Comment they better get married again if you're obsessed. Share this with someone who needs to believe in second chances. More chapters coming soon.